Hello, hello, hello. Tonight I am representing for the Bahamas and Trinidad and Tobago. We've got our red and our black going on because we have a very special guest tonight, which of course we are going to get into. Welcome to Vibration, where I empower individuals to speak their distinct truth, passions, and personal message on a global online stage. I'm your host, Michelle McDonald, passionate author, speaker, and entrepreneur. And of course, we have Kafi Kareem all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. Let's give her a big hello. And we are talking about a topic that really connects with the theme Faces of the Caribbean, why representation matters. And our topic tonight is Bridging the Gap, the cultural portrayal of Caribbean families in media. Founder of StoryPlay.tv, a Caribbean family movie company, Kafi Kareem is a writer, director, producer, and songwriter. She is the creative force behind Big Man Dan, a short form adult comedy animated web series, which won a Caribbean Tales Big Pitch Award and screened at film festivals in Nigeria, Jamaica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, her hometown of Trinidad and Tobago, and the USA. Her newest project, The Caddy Club, an animated family feature, won the first screen credits at the Trinidad and Tobago Films Festival's Caribbean Film Mart Best Pitch Prize. She won this amazing prize for her project at Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival Caribbean Film and got that amazing Pitch Award prize. Having earned her first screen credits as a writer of 2 episodes of the live action NBC4 web series Stage Fright, which won an LA Web Series Festival Outstanding Comedy Award. Kafi has written for shows developed in the Caribbean, Canada, and the USA. She has also written for projects distributed by NBC4 and 9 PBS and has worked with Lion Forge Animation, Disney, Pluto TV, and PBS. Kafi's career experience spans film, television, interactive media, and academia. She had the honor of serving as a research fellow at American University's Center for Media and Social Impact, an experience that strengthens her commitment to making entertainment for positive social impact. Since 2004, Kafi has worked with youth in various capacities as a paraprofessional counselor, consultant, teacher, and choir arranger. She is also a homeschooling parent to a 7-year-old girl. She has forged relationships with psychology and early learning professionals who have shared tools she would like to pass on through her work. Kafi, welcome to the stage tonight.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, it's an absolute honor. I am truly in awe of the work that you are doing. I know that the media space is huge, it has a lot of influence. And so you are certainly making waves with everything that you're doing under your belt. You are such a multi talented creative who is unstoppable and gifted in your craft. What was the inspiration that sparked your journey in various areas of film and songwriting?
So, when it comes to songwriting and music, my grandmother likes to say that I was singing before I was talking. So, shortly after I started singing and I started talking and learning words, it wasn't long after that I started songwriting. So, I would have written my first song somewhere around the age of maybe 7 or 8. It would have been a calypso that I performed in my primary school calypso competition.
Nice.
And I was hooked from then. So I pretty much, started songwriting at around 8. And all throughout high school, I wrote songs. And I'm bringing that skill set back with my latest film project, um, the Caddy Club, which is a musical, right? But I'm also using that skill set as an artist, in my own work as a musician and an artist. So the songwriting has been with me as long as I can remember, from the time I was 7 or 8. When it comes to filmmaking, pretty early on, I started to really love, certain kids' movies and TV shows. But it wasn't until maybe about high school that I would have started playwriting. And later on, in college, by the time I was in college, I would have known, oh, you know what, making films can actually be a career, you know? So by the time I finished my college program, my undergrad degree, I would have been committed to the idea of making movies, you know. And what's exciting is that recently I was able to bring those two passions together, like I said, in the Caddy Club musical, and also in my own work as an artist.
That is awesome. I love that childhood story of singing and what your grandmother said. And it's so amazing because when we're young, those whom we love and respect, their words stay with us. So the fact that you can recall what she said to you at such a young age and keeping that close now really speaks volumes. Another aspect is you mentioned growing up and watching certain TV shows, animated features, and it connected with you. And that's something that I can connect on as well. So Saturday mornings in the house was all about, okay, who can like rush and be in front of the TV first? Because then you have to kind of fight over the remote. And the thing is, you loved what you watched as a child. Like, you didn't see color. You just saw, like, oh, this person is so funny, or oh, this person is so smart. And in a sense, you enjoyed it, but you also kind of saw yourself in that show at the same time.
I agree.
And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about what you're doing, because there are so many other little boys and girls and even adults who can look at your work and feel as though they see themselves. And I really appreciate the fact that you are extremely detailed with it. I'm talking hairstyles, complexion, like the different genres, and you just kind of look and you're like, yes, this is the Caribbean, this is our black people on screen. You know, I have a friend that looks like that, or my cousin, or I like to dress like that. And it truly shows your passion and commitment to making sure that you send the right message all across the board. And the thing is, there are over 44 million people in the Caribbean. And so now these people can see themselves through your work. Why was it important for you to focus on portraying Caribbean families in your work?
I think you hit on it, Michelle, when you sort of described, thank you so much for describing like all of those details in terms of the skin colors, the hairstyles, even the way that like we express ourselves, like by
Mhm.
making sounds like that, right? And
Yes,
certain mannerisms, and the way that we would dress, and the type of trees we see around us. All of those things are things that you mentioned, make you feel like you're seeing yourself and your people. You're seeing your friends, your cousins, your people, and yourself on screen. And as much as we talked about how universal stories can touch us regardless of what color people are on screen, there's something really special about knowing that you matter enough and that your
yes,
culture matters enough for you to be on screen and see yourself. Because I know how easy it is to get erased, right? And so when you're a
yes.
kid, you aren't really thinking about that. You're just like, this is magical. I love the colors. I love the music. I love everything about this, right? But as you start to get older, you start to realize that because you aren't seeing yourself, your default in terms of how you define a lot of things in life isn't from
Mm,
you. It's from a completely different culture that has nothing to do with you, right? I have a daughter now, and so, I ask her questions sometimes, and she'll be telling me about bears and something else she was telling me about bears, and I can't remember what it was right now, but it was something else that she doesn't have in her actual environment, right? So let's use the example of a bear. A bear is not something that she actually sees. She sees cows, goats, chickens. She sees, animals that we typically see in the Caribbean, horses even, but not bears. But she had this reference point and this joke in her head that she was convinced was her own joke about a bear. And I had to be like, Glacier, let's think about it. If that joke really came from you would be talking about a chicken or a cow or a horse or an iguana or a butterfly or a bird or something that you typically see. That's how I know it came from YouTube, Glacier, because you're talking about a bear, which is something that's not in your own environment, which is not necessarily in and of itself a bad thing, but it is something that can make you removed from your own culture and your own self without even realizing that it's happening. If all of your points of reference, everything that you think of when you think of all those magical feelings that you see in these stories, you think of it as something that isn't you. And if we're not careful, our children will be aspiring to be something that isn't them
mm-hmm,
because because of how well these stories are told, and because of the fact that yes, there is a human element that catches us at the core and the soul and the heart, right? So there's a human element that's universal, but there's also an element of it that is very much of a specific culture. And so
mm,
I just think that we, our families, our children, our mothers, our fathers, our cousins, our aunties, our grandmothers and grandfathers, everybody, we deserve to see our own culture on
yes,
screen. And kids deserve to be able to feel all those good feelings we described growing up when we would watch cartoons, and also know that, but wait, this person kind of sounds like me.
yeah,
Hold up, this person sweats in the hot just like me. This person puts cornrows in her hair just like me. I think there's something really special about knowing that you matter enough that you can see yourself on screen.
absolutely, absolutely. And as kids, we love to mimic what we like. And so, as you stated, when we start to see the mannerisms and the accent, like the accent will really, really stand out. And it's like, wait, I hear my culture. She sounds like me, or my mummy, or my Grammy. And as the character is moving along the screen, we stand up. We're so small, but we're so inspired, and we start to like walk like them and do the dance, and we feel proud. Like a kid doesn't fully understand pride, but they feel proud to like see that and
Oh,
connect with
yes.
that, and they own it. Because you know how it is when you have the little dress up times and you're like, who do you want to be? And you'll see kids come out with images that they see on media that they connect to the most, and they own that. They're like, you can't tell me nothing. This is my culture right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and that's it. I'm from the
Mm-hmm.
Bahamas, and that's it. You're gonna, and it's so amazing how they capture that so quickly.
Yeah, yeah. You're so right. Like I showed a bit of the Caddy Club to some kids in a school. They were 6 years old, like a class of 6 year olds. And when they found out that the Caddy Club was from Trinidad, like the excitement in the room, you could touch it. You know what I mean? It was so much excitement. Like they were cool with the story, but when they found out that these kids who had superpowers were from Trinidad, just like them, it was like, wait, hold up, what? So you're right. They own it.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I could be cool like that. I know what it means to be a superhero. So now this is me, and I could be that. That's me. That's me." And I really love their so natural response to that, because as you stated, they're just so used to seeing other forms of media, and they like the storyline. They're like, okay, okay, okay. I'm just gonna kind of go with it. Um, because they've been conditioned to a sense. But as you stated, seeing themselves, seeing their country, seeing their region, even seeing their friends. They may have friends in other parts of the Caribbean, and they're like, "This is it!" Like, I'm so happy. Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And I really like how you mentioned the cultural aspect, because you could have just done, the body types and the complexion, and completely leave the cultural aspect of it. And I know that in certain industries it's kind of tempting to conform. But the fact is that, you're
Mm,
about breaking barriers and setting a standard. And so you were like, culture has to be a part of it. That's it.
thank you for that.
You're welcome. So, of course, I had the awesome opportunity to meet you in person in December in Kingston, Jamaica. And Kathy, I got to tell you, girl, your confidence was off the charts. You know who you are, what you stand for, the reach that your business has, and the impact that it makes. Like, you walk into the room, you own your space, and you do it. And that's something, like, I didn't know you at the time, but I applauded you for it, because I'm like, you know what? She knows why she is here, the value of her work, and she shows that to the world every single day. So, of course, being in the industry of film, would you say that your confidence and knowing the value of your work came a long way in regard to gaining recognition for the stand that you took in regard to what you portray in media?
Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment, Michelle. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad I come across that way. So I think that you know what making movies and um, what making movies and music is teaching me is something that I've heard other people who have businesses say, which is that to take something from idea to execution and then to take it into a marketplace requires a lot of commitment. It requires a lot of commitment and a lot of belief. You have to believe in what you're doing. Otherwise, you'll literally get pushed over. You know what I mean? It requires, I think that it requires a lot of strength because there's so many people that don't want to see you win, to be frank. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I don't usually like to think about the naysayers because I like to just focus on what I'm doing, focus on the people who see the vision, focus on the people who are on my team, people like you who are kind enough to support and offer words of encouragement, and who, in their own right, are doing things that are inspiring. I don't like to focus on the naysayers, but let's be real. We have to enter a marketplace, and in the marketplace, there's going to be competition. There's going to be other businesses who think that they want to sometimes compete in a way that's really can be very, very intimidating. So I do think that you have to believe in things, and not just in what you're doing, but in yourself. And if you believe in a higher power, that's something that you're gonna have to draw on a very regular basis, I think. And this is not just for filmmaking. This is for just anything that you want to accomplish in life, right?
Yes.
So being able to I don't know how much of it is just sort of my own confidence, and how much of it is, experience. I've been in the field since 2007, right? So that's about 16 years. So I've been through this enough to be very confident in what I'm doing. I've been a part of media startups. I've seen how they've been able to execute, and I have the experience to know that I'm coming from a place where I know what I'm doing, so that's part of it. But then part of
Mm-hmm.
it is also just but my belief in God don't make any accidents. God put certain visions on my heart and spirit, and put certain people in the room like Michelle to inspire me. And so everything is purposeful. I don't need to be
Mm-hmm.
worried about anything. Like, why am I going to be shaky when, let's think about it. I don't mean to get all like preachy on you, but let's think about it. If you do believe in a higher power, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
something, all that magnificence created me. What do I have to be humble about? Because, like, hello, the creator made me with all these talents, all these skills, all these abilities, all these visions. And the creator also made everything else in the world and everybody else in the world equally perfectly. So why would I
Mm-hmm.
walk around feeling like I'm not worth it when I was created more than worthy? You know? So
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
think it's that's my take on it. You know, I don't know. Yeah.
You answered that very, very well. And I really like the point that you stated that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially those in the creative space, can take. Be confident in your work the entire time. Sometimes we feel as though what we're doing isn't seen enough, valuable enough. We think it's just something that we like to do, and maybe a couple other people like it, and so we walk into a room and we dim our own light almost automatically. So I appreciated the fact that you were like, stay confident, believe in what you're doing. Other people will believe that as well, and as entrepreneurs, it's even more important to keep in mind. And of course, as you stated, like we were made with so much inside of us, there is no reason, no way that we could think that we are anything less than amazing. So just own it, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Right? Like walk around and own this place because you were given this life, right? You were given this life, and sometimes other human beings will try to dim something that's not theirs to dim. You know what I mean? Don't
Mm-hmm.
let them dim a light that they didn't create.
I absolutely agree. Like don't give them that power. Do you know what I mean? We have our own power and we should own that and use it when we need to. And it's just very important to like represent yourself the way you want to be seen. And then other people, your tribe, your people, they will attract to you and they will respond in a
Mhm.
way where, hey, we all on the same page, we support and love each other. That's it, period.
Period.
So, in talking about all of this, having that cultural portrayal as a major aspect of your media work, there is nothing like national pride and representing where you grew up. Your work is echoed throughout the Caribbean, touching your hometown of Trinidad and Tobago, as well as St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Jamaica. In addition to this, of course, your work has been seen in Nigeria and the United States. How did it feel seeing the impact within your homeland, and what did it feel like?
So it felt it felt it was interesting. If I say that it just felt good, I feel like I would be simplifying it too much. But if you know, I think that the reason that any of us do anything and create any sort of thing, you know, whether it's a business, a piece of art, is definitely to share and connect, right? So it's about other people and what we create and taking that to other people and hoping that it connects with people. So once I was able to see that, you know, I was making an impact, it was twofold because on the one hand it's incredibly satisfying. It feels really good to know that you set out to do this thing and people are actually connecting with it. On the other hand, because I deal with themes like cultural pride, and I'm super Afrocentric, and I'm also somebody who explores themes that lean towards women's empowerment anytime that you make a stance for these kinds of things, there are going to be people who are vehemently opposed to you on principle. And so part of making an impact was learning that to stand for something means to stand up to people who don't want you to stand for something, and all of the
Yeah.
techniques that they use. So I would say that it was both a strengthening experience, as in, Buju has a song that says, "Who feels it knows it's not an easy road. Many see the glamour and the glitter, and they think a better rose, but who feels it knows." You know that,
Yeah.
right? That Buju song that says, "Many see the glamour and the glitter, and they think it's a better rose, but who feels it knows." I think
Mm-hmm.
it was very much a learning experience in that there was the glamour and the glitter and the nice stuff and the yay, everybody loves it, applause, prizes, festivals, yay. But then there's also the whiplash of, who are you? What are you standing for? What makes you think you can say the things that you're saying? What makes you
Mm-hmm.
think that you can make an impact in our marketplace? What makes you, like there's all of this, like I said, opposition. And usually I'm blinders on, I don't really take it on, but I wouldn't be being honest if I said that it just felt good. Because it was
Yep.
also a strengthening experience where it's like, okay, I'm learning that to make an impact in any area means that you have to be prepared to get stronger and to sorry, and to deal with things that may not be easy to deal with. Yeah.
Yes, yes, very good point. And I like that you mentioned the different festivals because from everything that you were saying, I was going to ask if that experience in your hometown was something that prepared you for the global exposure that followed. Because sometimes things happen so quickly, right? So in your hometown, you're like, okay, this is a familiar spot. I know these people, I know the festivals, I know what to expect. It's good. And then sometimes when that global exposure starts to kick off, it can roll like an avalanche and things just start going faster, wider. You're getting more comments and persons noticing you. And it can bring out something so completely different. But from what you're saying, it sounds like it did prepare you for that. Just being able to understand the impact, but also understanding the realities of being in media. And there's that roller coaster, but knowing that throughout all of that, you have to have the balance to stand up when needed because you are here to make a point, loud and proud.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So, congratulations again on winning the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival's Caribbean Film Mart Best Pitch Prize, as well as the Caribbean Tales Big Pitch Award and the LA Web Series Festival Outstanding Comedy Award. How did it feel seeing your work applauded and recognized in international spaces and on a global scale?
As I said, I think I set out on this journey wanting to, share certain truths, certain ideas, certain artistic visions. So every single recognition and every single opportunity to sort of connect with a new set of people, get new eyes on the work, and share, with a new group of people was, uh, was welcome, a very welcome thing, and it let me know that there's interest in this sort of stuff globally, and that there's a community of people who are out there who are just like me, working on their art, looking to get it out there. And it also let me know, it's a small world. It's a
Oh,
small
yeah.
world, which means that all of us who are out here as entrepreneurs and artists, we have the opportunity to reach more people than we may think. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a small world, and we can connect through all these communities who are out here, eager to look for new voices, and to welcome new voices, and to to provide opportunities for us to reach audiences, you know. So
Hmm.
it felt good.
Yeah, and one of the things that is really so fascinating about being an artist is that everyone has their own interpretation of what they want to express. And so I really like how you focused on that, letting artists know that in your unique way, you can create an impact and share a message that the world wants to see. But you won't know that if you don't take a chance, take a step, believe in yourself, and connect with your audience.
True, true.
Most recently, you were one of four winners of the UN Women MCO Yemanja Collaborative Business Pitch Competition in December 2022, to which you were awarded the experience of attending the International Women Leadership Conference March 29th to 31st of this year with the incredible Ibukan Owasaka, who is a powerful motivational speaker during both the collaborative and this conference. How was that experience for you as a female entrepreneur, sharing the message of your business and representing Trinidad and Tobago?
The the International Women's Leadership Conference was really memorable. And I think the main thing for me as a daughter of the African diaspora was that it was a huge opportunity to like connect with women from the motherland, right? From the continents,
Yes.
mostly from Nigeria, but from all over. There were women from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, from Cote d'Ivoire, and you know, growing up as somebody in the Caribbean, I would have studied Caribbean history, and I know that theoretically my people came from West Africa. But now here I was in a room full of West African women who are the
Yeah.
living, breathing culture that I come from, right? So being able to connect to the part of my community that didn't leave the continent and that stayed in the continent as opposed to the part of the part of my community that ended up in the Caribbean and the Americans. For me, that was the biggest win in terms of that conference because we talk about things like repatriation, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like that you move yourself to the continent. Repatriation can also be building connections and community with people who are still in the continent, right? And
Yes.
and 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 knowing that you are part of their community, no matter how far you are away. And the women in the room were super welcoming. And a number of them were like, "Oh, you're Nigerian, and if you're not Nigerian, you're now an adopted Nigerian," you know. And so that type of love and good energy, I think it actually, like, it renewed me. It gave me this a big boost. And from a business perspective, it let me know and start thinking way more strategically about how I want to use these connections to take advantage of the fact that there's a huge population in this part of the continent that is hungry for the type of content that I might be producing as well, right?
Yes.
And for all of the types of products that we are producing here in the Caribbean. So our numbers might be smaller in the Caribbean, but we also have a whole continent of people who have similar cultural practices, similar skin types, similar hair types, and will be interested in doing business with us, right? And
Yes.
so that was the biggest business takeaway in that I already knew theoretically, okay, that we could reach the world, but now I have this room full of the women leaders who are all from all over the African diaspora, but also from the continent. So it's Pan African, And that is something I've never experienced before. So that was a little bit like I had me geeking out a little. Like I was like, oh my god, like feeling like the reverse of coming to America, coming you know what I mean? Like, feeling like Eddie Murphy in reverse. Like it was nice. So that was the nicest part of it, I think. Just being like, ow, these are my people.
Mhm. Yes, yes. And I love that. I really appreciated how they showed their hospitality. So they're like, hey, you could be coming from anywhere in the Caribbean, but you African. Like she said, you're either West
Exactly.
African or you're adopted West African. But whatever it is, you belong. We welcome you. You are in your space, your place. This is your family. We are all together as
That's it.
one, and we are going to grow throughout this entire experience. And it's so amazing because one of our core needs is that sense of belonging. And so just being able to walk into that room and experience it so automatically. And as you had already known that you have that African connection. So that made it like so much more special. Like, yeah, you just like do this huge sigh of relief and be like, like, this is awesome.
Yeah, and I felt the same way with you and our Yamanja sisters when we met up in Jamaica in December, of last year. Like before we met up, I was looking forward to it because I was like, you know what, this is going to be a community of women who understand the experiences that I'm having. And then once it was actually real and I got to meet with you and our other Yamanja sisters, it was definitely the same. It's a group full of a group of women, all of African descendants,
Yeah.
who were proud of where they came from, proud of themselves, um, focused on doing something positive for themselves, for their businesses, and for their communities, and just
Hmm.
giving off good energy. You know, so
Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you for mentioning that. And you were so right. So many of us came from different parts of the world. Our flights came at different times. We didn't know each other at all. But once we started connecting and being in that same space, it's like something just changed. And we allowed ourselves to connect, grow, laugh, share, create memories and support each other and in a way that we didn't expect, but once it started it just flourished out of the blue. So I'm so thankful that you felt that way, and that we had that same experience of feeling as one with those who are not only just
mhm.
proud of themselves and their country, but also being proud of coming from the Caribbean and from Africa. It's awesome. Totally beautiful. So, one of the shows that you mentioned, one of your babies, the Caddy Club, has a sneak peek trailer that is live. So, this one is a hole in one Caribbean adventure, the Caddy Club. Tell us more about this upcoming project, what we can expect, and how to pre order.
So the Caddy Club is about 5 kids in a vacation golf camp who get superpowers.
Nice.
And they get these powers when unexpectedly they discover a magical portal on the golf course, right? So it's golf meets magic meets music. It's gonna be just like all of the animated features that we would have grown up watching, where you have an animated adventure that's character driven, but you also have these musical interstitials, and you love the songs as much as the story and the characters. And so it's all of those things that we already love, but with a very clear Caribbean stamp on it. Caribbean music, Caribbean dialogue, Caribbean characters, and a Caribbean writer, me, right?
Nice.
So it's a project that I'm very excited about. The trailer, as you mentioned, is live on YouTube and Storyplay TV. And I do think that this is a very unique project right now for our marketplace. Like if you're in the market for a kids movie that's Caribbean, right now the Caddy Club may be one of the few projects that you can find, right?
Very true.
So
Yes.
yeah, and so I'm taking all of my experience and all of my team's experience to make the best project that we can, and I'm really happy with how it's coming out so far, and I hope that audiences love it as much as I do. I know that the kids, like I say, who see it, the kids, I know I have them sold. I'm not sure if I have the parents sold yet, but I know the kids are on board because every kid who sees it is like, yes, let's do this. When can I watch it?
Absolutely. They're like, don't worry about it. It is kid approved. Yes, yes, yes. That is so awesome. So of course, Kafi, we are excited with you. We cannot wait to check it out. And with all of the amazing things that you're doing, we have to know, how can we support you, your influence, your work? How can we be a part of this and show our support?
So, if you wanna see the Caddy Club movie, the best way to support is to join our pre-order list. The pre-order list lets us know that when the movie comes out, you want to be the first to watch the Caddy Club. And if you're interested in supporting me as an artist, a musician, a filmmaker, you can follow me at Kafi Kareem on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. That's Kafi Kareem, all one word. And yeah, just follow me, and you'll see what I'm up to. And as things come up, you can get involved.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you have heard all of our social media plugs, no excuses on how to find Kathy and show your support to our Caribbean sister. Let's keep this message going. It is so, so important. Seeing our culture, seeing ourselves, seeing our region. We are down for that. So you know exactly where to find her. Kathy, you have created an unstoppable wave that continues to grow in impact, support, and innovation. You have brought a change within the media space that is educating and informing different audiences about the cultural families here in the Caribbean that they may not have been aware of. And I applaud you for your originality, talent, and portrayal. I also applaud you for the company you have built with StoryPlay.tv and for bridging the gap in the cultural portrayal of Caribbean families, especially when it comes to media and in the media space. Of course, she has already mentioned how you can get on that pre order list. Do not wait. This is such an exciting project. You want to get on there and also connect with her within the other forms that she does, including songwriting. As a reminder, this episode is proudly sponsored by Amber L. If you are just tuning in, you can watch the full replay on YouTube and Facebook. A special thank you to our audience who's been sending likes and hearts throughout the entire experience, showing our guest Kathy some extra, extra love. We also thank her as she continues to make Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the other parts of the Caribbean, so proud with the work that she is doing. And we know that there is so much more to come. She is exemplifying the perception of culture when it comes to the Caribbean in media, and this speaks many, many volumes. I invite you to join me next week for another episode of Vibration, where I raise your frequency and amplify your truth. Bye, everyone.